It was around 11 p.m. on a late summer night when a large group of my closest friends gathered for a backyard camping session at our friend Taylor's family home. We planned to spend the night in a massive 10-person tent that we all put together earlier that evening. With just a few weeks left before our first year of high school, this gathering in Taylor's backyard was one of our last chances to hang out as a large group. The night couldn't have been better. The slightly breezy warm weather was perfect, and the skies were crystal clear, ideal for stargazing, especially considering Taylor's place was pretty secluded, surrounded by cornfields from all directions. Since we were short on sleeping bags and pillows, my friends Michael, James, and I left the party momentarily to walk to my house to gather some additional supplies for the night. It was a fairly decent walk, as you had to walk down a long dirt road going into town for about 30 minutes. As we walked down the seemingly endless dark path toward town, we cracked jokes about different pranks and scare tactics to use on our friends when we returned. The three of us especially had always enjoyed concocting such schemes, often creating short, corny horror films together. In the midst of our conversation, James halted abruptly and asked if we had just heard a noise as he stared into the swaying dark corn stalks brushed by the wind. Michael and I scoffed, urging him to stop messing around. But just as we were about to resume walking, laughter from within the corn stalks reached our ears, stopping us in our tracks. It sounded like it was coming from at least two people, which suddenly made me feel incredibly unnerved. The thought of potential creeps lurking and watching us was disturbing, especially given our isolated location, and the ongoing murmuring of voices only heightened the unsettling atmosphere. The silence that had settled over our fear was abruptly shattered by the revving of a truck engine coming from just around the bend ahead. The approaching vehicle's headlights began lighting up the dirt road and corn stalks as it drew closer. Shortly after, we were engulfed in blinding headlights. There was a momentary sense of relief at the presence of others besides the mysterious figures in the corn, but that feeling quickly shifted as the truck roared past us and then forcefully braked, grinding its tires on the gravel and stirring up a thick dust cloud. Three guys who appeared to be older high school students leaped out of the truck, paddles in hand. Oh crap. I realized immediately what was about to happen. I had never imagined I'd be hazed, but their intentions became obvious as they advanced, laughing and taunting. Looks like we've got some freshmen here. We tried pathetically to convince them that we weren't freshmen, but they weren't buying it. When I questioned how they could be so sure, the apparent leader of the group approached me slowly, came right up to my face, toothpick resting on his lips, and said, "Because you reek of freshmen, boy." He then ordered us to line up, turn our backs, and place our hands on their truck. The initiation began with Michael, who couldn't hide his discomfort, though he tried to downplay the pain afterward. Then it was James's turn, his expression mirroring Michael's. I realized with dread that I was left for the leader, noticeably larger than his companions. Great, I thought, bracing myself for what seemed like a harsh treatment. But just as the leader pulled back his paddle to swing, a gunshot rang out, striking their truck. A second one followed, shattering the windshield. I noticed the flash of the second shot coming from the same direction where we had earlier heard the laughter. The leader erupted in profanities, visibly enraged, but his anger was cut short by another gunshot that shattered the driver's side window. Michael, James, and I exchanged glances, and without needing to say anything, we all took off running as fast as we could back towards Taylor's place. As I looked back, I saw the other guys scrambling into their truck just as a fourth gunshot rang out, pushing us to run even faster. I've never run so quickly in my life. The adrenaline, driven by fear, made it feel almost effortless. When we got close to Taylor's, the others were already at the driveway looking alarmed, no doubt having heard the gunshots. We caught up to them, panting heavily as we attempted to describe the frightening situation we had just escaped. For the remainder of the night, our encounter was the only topic of conversation. Deciding against sleeping outside near the cornfields, we moved indoors, not just out of fear, but also because Taylor's parents insisted on it after they called the police to report the gunfire. I never discovered the identities of those ominous figures lurking in the corn, who, I guess, inadvertently saved me from my high school initiation. However, their haunting presence lingered over the town, as random gunshots were constantly being reported over the next few years, casting a shadow across our small community.